All right, well, good morning. It's a good crowd to see on a Sunday morning. I wasn't sure how many people would show up. It's kind of early, but it's great to see all of you here today. Thank you for coming. My name's Amanda Mill, as she mentioned. I know it's kind of a tough last name to spell. It's Muell, but it's actually Mill. It's German. My husband is 100%, so it's very German. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of history, a little bit of information about Liberty on the Rocks, who we are, what we do, and then I'll talk to you a little bit about how we get the message out, and then I'll kind of explain how you actually could start and run a Liberty on the Rocks chapter. Usually we have folks from, I don't know, between 25 and 35, 40 are the ones that run chapters. So if you're in the room and you think you might want to run a chapter, awesome. Or you could also promote it to somebody else and say, hey, this is a great way for you to get the message out. So the mission of Liberty on the Rocks is to help libertarians around the world connect, get informed, and be appraised of opportunities available so they can become involved and promote the message. So we are a 501c3. We have chapters in 35 cities in 5 countries around the world. And essentially what we do is we have local networks and events through happy hour to bring out libertarians and get them talking, to get them networking, and to get them thinking about different issues related to free market economics. And of course, what's going on politically as well. We are a 501c3, so we don't actually get engaged in political activity. We don't encourage people to vote on certain issues, but we do talk about the issues and inform people about whether something is a good or a bad issue, so that from there they know what to do about it. So essentially, we started in 2008. I was an intern at the time at the Independence Institute with John Caldera there, and we were talking. This was when it was back in Golden, and it's a really great organization still, and they have amazing talks. But we found that usually the ages of attendees were 60 and up for the most part, and we were all about 25, 26, and we thought, gosh, there's got to be other young people our age to come out and talk about these issues. So what do we do to bring those people together? And we figured, what better way than meet at the bar for happy hour, right? Because as I'm sure a lot of you know, it could become exhausting after a while to be constantly thinking about political issues and constantly thinking of how you're going to get involved or what you're going to do to spread the message. And, you know, I'd been to a number of events that were maybe at a church or a library or something, 2 hours of listening to someone talk, and it can get a little exhausting, and you don't want to do that all year round. So we thought if you get together at the bar and you're having drinks and you're meeting other people, then you might be more inclined to come out on a regular basis. So our chapters around the world, they meet either once or twice a month. In Denver here, we meet in Lafayette and Denver twice a month. And we basically have networking and all that stuff. So we decided to launch in 2008. 14 people at our first event. John Caldera showed up. A couple of other activists were there actually to stop RTD from coming onto their property. It was an eminent domain issue of all issues. So they were there to talk a little bit about that with guests. And this was maybe April, and by the time June, July came along, we had about 60 people showing up every other month. So we were hosting bi-monthly events, getting together at the bar, and 60 people were coming, networking, talking about politics, talking about free market issues, getting to know one another. And we realized it was a phenomenal opportunity to throw in some educational aspects as well. So we started bringing in speakers to come and talk, because we were meeting for about 2 hours. So in 2009, we launched officially. We bring in speakers. In fact, Randall O'Toole was one of our speakers at the Denver chapter in Choppers to talk about all the issues going on with transportation and the government messing things up, usually, the urban development issues. And so, I mean, we've had other speakers like Robert Murphy, Nick Gillespie of Reason, Jeffrey Tucker, and just a lot of amazing speakers have come out around the world to speak at different chapters. So we get together, we network, we talk, and then we usually have a speaker for 20 to 30 minutes. We also distribute books and other information. So that's sort of going into the how do we get the message out. That's sort of what we do to get the message out is we want to train and help the middlemen, basically, the middlemen and women who are talking to their friends, talking to their family, arguing with coworkers, maybe mentioning to somebody on the bus why free market economics is important and why we need limited government, less government, in just about every aspect of our lives. So we want to help those people who want to talk about these issues feel confident about talking about these issues and actually really understand what they're talking about and practice talking about these issues. So that's kind of the main way that we try to get the message out, is by alerting individuals already interested in this stuff to what's going on. Because, you know, let's face it, it's easy, like I mentioned before, to kind of just get sucked into life. You forget about what's going on politically. If you don't have any friends, you know, you might watch Fox News or, you know, get on the internet and watch some videos or whatever. But it can be it could become lonely if you don't have anyone to talk about. So it's really important to stay on top of these issues, and that means you need to have a place to go, you need to have people to talk to. So we obviously help with the connection aspect. We also bring individuals in outside of the Liberty Message who don't know a lot about it. Not often, but you know, it happens definitely. Attendees bring their friends who had never learned about it before to come and network, because it's meeting at the bar. Again, it's so much easier than saying, come with me to a political rally, come with me to this 2-hour-long talk at a library tonight. And it's like, no, come to the bar and hang out. And so we do definitely get a lot of people who wouldn't normally come to these things, and they talk and they learn, and sometimes they come back. We also have been focusing a lot lately on entrepreneurship and talking about how you can advance liberty through the marketplace by just simply providing more choices. And so that definitely has brought in a different audience too, people interested in entrepreneurship. And as we all know, any and all entrepreneurs should be liberty oriented. I don't know how you aren't liberty oriented if you're an entrepreneur. I even remember U2, you know, the U2 Bono, he's a big liberal activist, although he recently came out with supporting capitalism. So wow, that was amazing. I think hell is frozen over. But, you know, he was really big into promoting more taxes for help with Africa and all that stuff. And then it was found out that his, the headquarters of his record label, or whatever you call it, moved, I believe. Was it from England to Ireland, or vice versa, or something? Because they were paying too much taxes, and they wanted to have lesser taxes. So, you know, it's like in that book, "Do as I say, not as I do." Even if you are an entrepreneur that claims to want big government, you are fighting it every step of the way. So having more entrepreneurs, A, is a good thing. But B, if you think about all the different things lately that have been advancing liberty through entrepreneurship, one example is Uber or Lyft. Have you guys heard of Uber or Lyft here? Yeah? Well, that is just amazing. And we've been fighting the taxi cab monopolies and the regulations in that industry for so long. I don't know, honestly, how many times it's been on the ballot or if it's been on the ballot. But what Uber and Lyft have done is they came in and they found a loophole, basically, so they're not considered taxi cabs because they don't accept any cash in the car. They're using apps. So you use your app, you order a cab, you get in the cab, no money's exchanged. So it's not a taxi cab. So they can get around buying a medallion for upwards of, you know, thousands of dollars, and anyone can get in the industry. Anybody in this room could be an Uber or Lyft driver. I think if your car is a 2004 or more, and you have a driver's license. So that is actually helping. That's providing a lot more choices. It's killing those industries that are overregulated, and it's letting people know that you could work, you could have better options and all that stuff if government just gets out of the way. So we want to encourage way more of those things. So that's another way we're getting the message out, is by bringing in new people, by talking about entrepreneurship, and then just talking about different ways we could get active outside of the political realm. Because again, we need choices. Some people aren't going to be as politically active, so they need to know other things that they can do. So let's see here. Now, if this sounds interesting to you, or if you want to maybe start a chapter, come to a chapter, first check out our website. It's libertyontherocks.org. You can find out where we have chapters around the world, what the chapters are doing, that kind of stuff, where they're meeting. I assume a lot of you are here from Denver, or maybe some of you are out of town. Mostly from Colorado? Okay. Oh, mostly from out of town. Oh, okay, gotcha. So check us out at libertyontherocks.org if you want to find a local chapter. We do meet monthly, and like I said, 35 cities around the world, 5 different countries, so a lot of different places you can go to find one. But if you're interested in either if you're interested in starting a chapter or promoting to somebody that they start a chapter, I'll give you some basics here quickly. Basically, you just go onto the website and you register is the first thing you'll do, libertyontherocks.org. There's a Start a Chapter button at the top. So you can click on that, check it out, see if there's anything in there that you agree with or don't agree with. We talked about our mission, our goals in there. Obviously, if you're starting any kind of group like this, you want to have a Facebook page. They're free. It's a great way to get information out to people. Or, you know, a Facebook page or a group. I recommend the page over the group, but they both have benefits. Just don't keep the group private. You obviously want to find a venue to meet. I recommend a bar or a restaurant bar, something like that, just because, again, it's all about having fun and keeping it, you know, entertaining for people to come out. So sometimes that means searching around different places. I always recommend that they go bar hopping one night just to find a good spot and have a good time while they're doing it. You want to find out when that bar is the slowest of the night, so that they'll give you space for free, so that you can either get a back room or get your own kind of, you know, general area. If you want to have a speaker eventually, I recommend getting a back room if you're having, you know, events like this again. Find a day and a time, host your first event. Ask your attendees to spread the word. So any group that you're having, it's always important for the attendees that are showing up to spread the word to their friends and family. It's one of the best ways that groups like that grow. So we grow a lot by word of mouth. Connecting with other group leaders is really important. If you, any kind of group, again, especially if it's a group that meets in person, you want to promote with pictures and talking about the fact that you meet, updating your website or Facebook group as much as possible, because if somebody's looking you up or checking you out and they go to your website or Facebook page and there's not been a post for 6 months to a year, then they assume that you're not meeting anymore. So it's important to keep that regular activity going. And then, you know, in order to get the message out at these events, you want to invite speakers, you want to give out books. And Students for Liberty sends out books to Liberty on the Rocks groups, and then we send out books as well. We have a couple different things that we send out. You always want to encourage discussion and activities, assisted networking, and then invite people up to talk about events and opportunities that they have available. But yeah, I'll leave that, you know, because there's not, you know, maybe a ton of people that want to start chapters, so I'll leave that open for questions later. But I guess that's kind of the main aspects that I wanted to cover. And again, I'll answer any questions that you have later. But just remember that when you're trying to get the message out, sometimes it just takes one-on-one interaction. So we all need to feel super confident about what we're talking about. If you don't know an issue, don't talk about it. But if you're really passionate about something, learn as much as you can, and also learn how to best communicate. It doesn't usually work well when you yell or when you insult people. So just little things like that. Maybe read How to Win Friends and Influence People is always a good one. So, all right. Well, thank you so much.